Hello and welcome back to another Flutter tutorial. In this video, we'll be using the YouTube APIs in Flutter to get the channel info, list the videos, and play it in a video player. So let's start. This is my main.dart file where I have set an empty container as home and that's having a white background. Now let's go to the pubspec.yaml file and see what are the packages that we need. So here we need three packages. The first one is a HTTP package to call the YouTube APIs to get the YouTube data. Second one is a YouTube player, which will be used to play the YouTube videos. Third one is the cache network image, which will be used to cache the video thumbnails. Okay, so let's create some screens. So I'm going to create a folder named screens and a file named home screen and another file named video player screen. So let's create the home screen, which is a stateful widget. Let's import the material package, and this is the screen where we'll list the videos, and in the video player screen we will play the YouTube video. Let's go to the home screen and create a bar with a title YouTube and a body with a container color white, and replace the home with the home screen in the main.dart file. So there is our home screen. Now let's see how we can access the YouTube data from the YouTube APIs. So let's go to the browser and go to console.developers.google.com. You should be signed in with your Google account, or you can create a new account. So here, let's create a new project. I'm going to name the project Test YouTube API and click Create. So a new project will be created. Let's go to the dashboard and click Enable APIs and search for YouTube Data API v3 and click Enable. Wait for it to finish. Now click Create Credentials and choose YouTube Data API v3 and select your platform. I'll be selecting iOS and click Public Data and click What credentials do I need. Okay, that's our API key. Copy it. So let's go to our Flutter project and create a new file, constants, and create a class constants and create a string key and paste it there. Now let's go back to the developers console and click on restrict key. So you can restrict keys based on your apps. So you can select iOS apps, Android apps, or anything you want. So select restrict key and you need to select the APIs. So if you are, so let's select the YouTube Data API v3. Okay, so let's say you are restricting the keys for only your iOS apps. So in that case, you need to give the bundle ID of your app. Okay, so here I'm not going to do it, and I'm gonna select none and click Save. Alright, now let's go to developers.google.com and let's select YouTube. Here you will have all the documentation for using the YouTube APIs, analytics, reporting, live streaming, and all other stuff. Okay, so we'll be using the Add YouTube Data section. So let's go to the overview and see what are the things that we have. You can go through all this documentation by yourself. I am not going to do that. So I'm just going to get the channel info by using this API. So go to channels list and you can get the channel info by channel ID or username, etc. Okay, and so let's make use of this. So let's try this API and use it in our Flutter code. So part, you can give snippet, content details, etc, etc. You can read through the documentation for that. Okay, and here I'm going to copy my channel's ID and I'm gonna paste it in the ID value And then I'm going to show the standard parameters, and you can see it needs the access token. So let's copy our access token and paste it there. Okay, perfect. Now execute it. You'll be asked to allow the permission, so allow it and you should get the response back. So let's copy that response, and we need to create a model for this response. So as I have done in my previous tutorials, so if you haven't seen it, I'll be providing the link to it in the description. Okay, so paste it and create the model. So here you need to select dart. Okay, and our class name is channel info. So it has created all the classes for us. Let's copy it and let's go to the Flutter project, and let me run it once more. Okay, it's running. Now let me create a new folder, models, and I'm gonna create a new file, channel info, and paste the whole thing there. So here we have all the model classes for that response. Now let's go ahead and write our service classes to call these APIs and display this information in the UI. Alright, so I'm gonna create a new file and name it services.dart class services. Let's declare the channel ID first. So for that, declare a static constant channel ID is equal to, let me copy the channel ID. Now we need to declare the base URL. For that, I'm just copying the whole request and keeping it here for reference. Alright, so static constant base URL is equal to, so let me copy that. So that's our base URL. Now let's write the method to get the channel info. So static future, the model channel info, and method name get channel info. This is going to be an asynchronous method. Now we will declare the parameters, which is a map. So parameters is equal to, the first parameter is a part. So let's copy it from the request itself. So that will be, so let me go to the browser and copy that. Okay, and the second parameter is the ID, that's the channel ID. So we had already declared it, so channel ID. Third one is the most important one, the API key. So let me import that. Okay, that's a key, so API key. Okay, and the second one is headers. So I'm going to set it as application/JSON. So HTTP headers dot, let me import that. Content type header is application/JSON. We are actually replicating the same curl request here. Okay, now we need to call this API to get the details. So URI is equal to URI.https, and the encoded path is this one. So let me copy it and paste it there. And third one is the parameters. Okay, now let's get the response. Response equal to await http.get. So let me import the http, and we need another import for response. Okay, so .get and pass in the headers, URI and the headers. Okay, so let's try printing out the body and parse the response into our channel info model. So call channel info from JSON and pass in the response body. So that is the method we are using, and return the channel info. Okay, now let me remove this. Now let's go back to the home screen and create a variable channel info, and I'm going to override the init state and write another method, get channel info. Here I'm going to call the service method. So channel info is equal to await services dot get channel info. Okay, let's call it in init state. All right, next we will display the information that's coming from the API in the UI. So let's write a method build info view and return a container with a child, a card, and a child, which is a row, and inside this row we are going to display the logo first, the channel logo. So a circle avatar with a background image, cached network image provider, and we need to get the URL. So for that we need to go to items, snippet, then thumbnails. There we can get the default or medium or high resolution of the image. Let's go back to the Flutter code and try to get this URL from the model and display it in the UI. For that we need a item model variable. So that's item model. Okay, now let's initialize it. So item is equal to channel info dot items of 0, and let's use it, item dot snippet dot thumbnails dot, we can use higher resolution, medium, or default. So let's use the medium resolution. So medium dot URL. Next we can display, let me give it some space, and we can display the channel title. So text item dot snippet dot title. Let's give it a style, so a text style with a font size of 20 and font weight dot W400. Alright, now let's display the video count also. So that can be obtained from statistics. So item dot statistics dot video count. Okay, now let's add this view inside a column widget. So there is some error. So for that let's add a loading parameter. Let's set it to true initially. So when the loading is complete, we'll set it to false. So when it is loading, we will show a circular progress indicator. When it is done, we'll show the data. Okay, so we have the data here. Now let me wrap the text inside a expanded widget. Okay, let's give it some padding, or you can apply the padding to the container as well, like this. So the next thing is we will display the list of videos just below this view. For that we need to call another API. Let's go back to the developer console. I'm going to close this, and we need to go to playlist items, and we need to call this API. So let's try out this API. Give the part and the API key, which is the access token, and we need to have the playlist ID. So we already have the channel info, we can get the playlist ID from there. So let's go back to a Flutter code and we will try to print out the playlist ID from here. Declare a new variable playlist ID and we are going to assign it here. Playlist ID is equal to item dot content details dot related playlist dot uploads. Alright. Now we will try to print the playlist ID so that we can use it in the API to try it out. There we have the playlist ID. Let's copy it and use it in the API. Alright, execute. So we have an error here. That's in the part section, I think. So let's just keep the snippet there and execute. Okay, here we have all the data. Let's copy it and let's analyze it. There we have the next page token and we have the video details and different resolution of thumbnails, and there is my local notifications video, and let's scroll down and there is my background running music player video tutorial. Okay, so I think we have the basic info to display the list here. Copy the response from the API and we'll create a model for that so that we can use it in the Flutter code. Copy it and go to the app.quicktype.io and let's name the model video model, or let's name it videos list, and paste the response there. So here we have the model. Let's copy it, create a new model, videos list, and paste the model there. Here I'm gonna rename some classes because it's going to conflict with our other model. The first one is the item, so we have item in the other model also, so let's rename that to video item. And the snippet, let's rename it to video because it contains the video details, the thumbnails, the resource ID and everything. Okay, so that makes sense. Alright, now let's go back to the home screen and we will get data from the API and list in the UI. Okay, so let's declare a variable videos list. Let's initialize it, a new videos list, and I'm gonna set the, I think the member variable name is something different, so let me check that. Okay, so it's items, so let me change that to videos. Okay, so since it's a video item, so videos list dot videos is equal to a new list, it's empty list. All right, and let's write a new method, load videos, and we need to call the load videos API. We need to write a new API, so videos list temp videos list is equal to await services dot, we need to write a new method, so let's write a new method, get videos list. Let's go to the services file and write a new method, static future, it's going to return videos list, get videos list asynchronous method, and we need to define the parameters and the URL like we did in the previous method. So this is going to accept the playlist ID and the page token, which can be used to load the next set of videos. Okay, so let's define the parameters first, which is a map. Parameters is equal to, the first parameter is the part, let's pass in the snippet, and the second parameter, let's see, the second parameter is the playlist ID, let's pass in the playlist ID, and the third parameter is the max results, I'm setting it to 8, and the fourth parameter is the page token. So let's set the page token, and the final parameter is the API key. Okay, now we need to set the URL and the headers. So let me copy it from above. Okay, and we need to set the URL, so let me copy it from the API. Okay, and paste it there. Cool. And we need the headers too. Okay, perfect. Now let's get the data from the API and set it in our model. Videos list is equal to videos list from JSON and pass in the response body. Now return the videos list. Alright, now let's go back to our home screen and pass in the variables, the playlist ID, and the second parameter is the page token. So we need to get the page token first. So let me declare a new variable string next page token, initializing it to empty. So for the first call to the API, you can set it as empty, but for the following calls, you need to get the data from the results and set it accordingly. Okay, so let's see how we can do that. So let me go to the load more videos and set the page token, and we need to get the next page token. So temp videos list dot next page token, and we need to add the videos to the videos list that we have here and call set state. Okay, and let's call the function. All right, let me try to print out the videos details. Now let's open the console. Okay, there is a lot of log. Let me try commenting out the other logs. Okay, so we can see there are some instances of video item. Let me try to print out the length. Okay, we have 8 videos from the initial request. Okay, now we have the videos list here. Our next job is to display it in a list view. So let's create a list view dot builder, and item builder will have the context and index, and let me set the item count. That will be videos dot length, and for each row I'm going to return a container with a, we need to show the video thumbnail first, right? So let me create a cache network image, and image URL will be, let me get the video item first. So video item is equal to videos list dot videos of index. Okay, so video item dot, so it's showing a snippet, so let me change that to video so that it's more readable. Okay, video. Okay, so that will be video item dot video dot, and we need to get the thumbnails default dot URL. Let me put it inside a row widget, child row children, and paste it inside. Okay, so if I refresh the UI, okay, there is some error. So that's because we need to wrap the list view inside a expanded widget. So let me do it. Okay, so here you can see the list of thumbnails. Now we just need to display the video title. So a new text, and video title will be video item dot video dot title. So let me wrap it inside a flexible widget. Perfect. Now let's give it some spacing, a width of 20, and on the right side as well. Let's give the row a little bit of padding of 20. Okay, looking good. Now let's display the video in the video player. For that, let's go to the video player screen and let's write a constructor that will accept the video item. So final video item, and I'm gonna create a YouTube player controller, and a boolean is player ready. Now let's override the init state method and initialize these two variables. Is player ready to false, and controller is equal to YouTube player controller, and we need to give a initial video ID that will be widget dot video item dot video dot resource ID dot video ID. And optionally you can set some parameters like flags, which are YouTube player flags. Inside that you can set mute or autoplay. I'm setting autoplay to true so that it will start playing when we open this page, and you can add a listener. So let's write the listener function. Here you can check something like if the player is ready, or if the screen is there, if it is mounted, or something like if the player is in full screen or not, something like that. You can check it here. So I'm just leaving this part for now, and make sure to dispose the controller when the dispose method is called, and also if the if this class is deactivated, you can call controller.pause and pause the video. Okay, so let's write the build method, scaffold with an R bar. In the title we will show the video's title, that will be widget.video item.video.title, and the body we will set a container with a child YouTube player, and it needs a controller, and you can set the video progress indicator to true, and you can listen to the on ready and on ended callbacks. So you can make use of it whatever the way you want. We can set the is player ready to true here, so that we know that the player is actually ready. Now when the user clicks on the list view row, we want to navigate to the video player screen with the video item. So on tab we'll call navigator.push context and material page route, and builder will have the context, and we need to return the screen we want to push. So return video player screen, and we need to pass the video item. Okay, all right, so let's restart the app and click on each row. Okay, so the video is loading, so let's click on another one. Let's wait for the video to load. It's loaded and it's playing. All good. Perfect. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to load more videos when the user scrolls and reaches the end of the list. Okay, so we need the next page token here that we have, but we need the listener for the scroll for the list view. So let's create a scroll controller and initialize it, new scroll controller, and we need to give this scroll controller for the list view. So controller and scroll controller. Okay, now I'm gonna wrap the list view with a notification listener, which is a scroll end notification, and we are going to listen to the on notification event. that will give us the notification object that is of type scroll notification, and we can get more details from it. Let's see what we can get. Notification.metrics.pixels is equal to notification.metrics.max scroll extend. That means we are at the end of the list. So when that event occurs and when it matches, we will load more videos. So let's see if that's working. It's not working. I think there is some issue. So let's try to debug it. I'll try to put some breakpoints in the events. Okay, so let's put the breakpoint in the line number 70. Okay, so you can see that it's reaching the method. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, it has all the values. We have the next page token and we have the playlist ID, but something is going wrong. Okay, we will try to print the next page token. It's already there, but let's look at the console. Okay, so there is an empty array and we are trying to get the URL from it. That's the issue. So let's go to that line number. So the JSON standard, it's returning an empty array for some videos. So let's check if it is null or empty. Here it's returning null. And okay, we have one more issue. This is returning null. So let's check it. All right. Okay, now it's loading. Let's add one more validation here. So we know that we are getting 8 videos per request, right? So when we scroll, it's going to increase, and finally it's going to reach it's going to be more than 103. Okay, so when it reaches 103, we don't want to make more requests, so that will be unnecessary, right? So let's add that, and the video count is a string, so make sure to parse it to an integer. So let's try to load more videos and take a look at the console. So 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72, 80, 88, 96 and 103. So no more request. Okay, so the next page token became null. You can show the progress on the title bar when the info is loading. So if it is loading, we will say loading, and otherwise YouTube. So if you refresh, you can see that the title bar is changing to loading. So that's all in this video. So here I have used only 2 of the APIs that YouTube provides. You can make use of other APIs to upload YouTube videos as well, and many other stuff. Okay, so make sure to check it out. I'll be providing the link to the source code and link to the plugins that I have used in the description. So if you found this video useful, please don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Also, please hit the bell icon for notifications so that you will get instant notifications when I upload new videos. And please leave your valuable comments below this video. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Bye.